double-edged two people. We get you on both sides. So we've developed a product that we are kind of marketing together that handles both pieces of the, let's deal with that inner piece. And then Claire handles the inner to the outer physical piece.
The translation.
It's yummy, huh? It's really important to be, something that you said about being lonely as you were kind of those separate and distinct kind of players. It's also exhausting. You will break your body down by having to maintain those separate and distinct pieces. It's very hard. It's almost like swimming upstream to hold the boundaries between those separate pieces. And trust me, it will begin to have an effect on your physical body and show up in medical ailments. You know, that separation of self. So let's just put it all together. Let's just smash all of them and be true. How about your biggest, like if you could leave people with one, your biggest lesson or your biggest learning or your top tip?
I think I'm going to speak from life instead of just business owner, and that is to embrace your gifts and surround yourself with people that encourage them and that value them. Mentors, supporters.
Can I ask you something? I was wondering, when you were in that in-between place of having left a job you didn't like before you started doing something else, how did you deal with and respond to people's questions? That's kind of where I'm at. I find it to be very stressful and exhausting.
They're always asking you, have you found a job yet? What are you doing? Yeah.
Did you decide what you're going to do?
Right. It's, you know what, thanks for your interest. I'm so glad you're interested in what I'm doing. I'm taking some time to decide what I'd really like to do. I'm not particularly in a rush. You know, I mean, I hit it a lot. I was like not sure. And when I came here, I went through a big traumatic change that brought me back to Chicago. And I wasn't necessarily in a happy place. And I kind of pummeled through it initially. It was like, I can do this, I'm a survivor. I went and ran a marathon. And then my body caught up, as you were saying, and I was like, I literally got knocked to the ground, breaking bones on different occasions. One would heal and then the next one would break, until my body, I realized, stop, slow down, acknowledge the growth here, decide what you're up to, decide what you're about. Because prior to coming to Chicago, I had a boyfriend, and he was my persona. It was all about handling him, and suddenly it was just, there was no one to defer to. I had to look at myself. And that's when I was like, okay, I now have to decide, it's Claire's an adult, what does she believe in, what does she want to do? And I found the support of people that said, you know, I would kind of whisper, I think I want to stay independent. And then the next day I'd go on a big interview, because I could very easily go back to the corporate world and have a very prestigious job that didn't make me happy. And so I just increasingly told people and looked for support that you can do this, we do believe in you, and I encourage taking the time. And I was fortunate enough that my family supported me and said, please don't do anything, please take care of yourself. And that's when all these ideas and visions came into my head. I then just had to figure out my strategy of how do I bring it together. And I encourage resources, you know, networking groups, things like this. Just bring yourself into the arena of like-minded people, and things show up. At the least you develop friends.
Yeah, and it's very much, I think, like when you are, it's an overused metaphor, but you plant a garden, and you have to protect it. You know, you have little seedlings in there, and you have to protect it early on. with you, hold it close to the vest. And it's not to be withholding, but it's to help you develop your confidence around what you're creating. And then you share little by little with more people. But I think to Claire's point, you figure out who your believing eyes are, so to speak, who will see you and love you despite whatever, and share with them so that they can help you protect your seedling. And then you can open it up to the rest of the world when you've got some good roots, you've pulled the weeds, and sometimes, it's interesting, but when we share what's true for us, the universe has a way of plucking weeds for us, too. And you can tell who's meant to be part of your circle, oftentimes by how they'll respond to you. So if you find yourself with people who are diminishing or limiting in any way, just notice. Maybe that's not who I want to spend most of my time with. You can choose and decide and select how you want to be present and available for them. That's all within your power. I'm not saying pull out from your friendships. I'm saying be discerning about where you send your resources.
And how you choose your time. Because as I had to invest more and more time in developing me and my company, I had to pull out of all these social activities that I was the entertainer. I love entertaining, and I still do, but I reduced it. And I explained why. So that I had to learn to say no, which I don't like doing. And so when I said yes, I chose it. I'm only going out tonight if I'm really going to be happy I went out that evening. I don't need to just be out late to be out late. I have a big day tomorrow I want to do stuff with. So you can have it your way. It doesn't have to be their way or society's way or your family's way. And even I encourage in the corporate world you can still have it your way. I having a conversation with a girlfriend yesterday who left the corporate world. Now is an offer to go back. She's not sure because it won't allow her to travel. I'm like, who says you can't negotiate for a 30-hour week? Why are you presuming that they won't let you do that? There are more and more companies that are doing job shares and 4-hour or 4-day weeks. It doesn't hurt to ask. They might say no, but I've learned that I'm not perfect. It's not going to hurt for me to ask. And there's always room to adjust and change. Life is very nimble. I just sent out a newsletter myself, and I said, I'm going through my own brand revolution. I'm walking the talk. Come along for the ride. I'm not perfect either, and no one has to be. Don't put someone on a pedestal because you don't want to be on that pedestal.